Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again after a wonderful trip to Texas to talk about the dangers of socialism, as well as my experiences of living through the Cultural Revolution and the persecution of Falun Gong in China. I was extremely happy to meet the youth from Young Americans Against Socialism. Their enthusiasm nearly encouraged me. During the past few days when I left, the CCP virus situation in China suddenly deteriorated very rapidly. So I will give you some updates on that to make up for what we missed. I will also discuss the 3 reasons why the CCP has to stubbornly stick to its zero tolerance policy and how this new situation will affect the CCP. Again, before we go to our topics, a very wonderful video first.
Experience China before communism. The life-changing performance. Shen Yun. Buy tickets on shenyun.com.
Well, this ad is for the Lincoln Center in New York. There will be a few more shows there until March 20th. Tickets are on sale now if you live in New York and haven't watched it yet. It is your last chance this year to see it. Also, if you don't live in New York, don't worry. Type on the address on the screen, that is shenyun.shu/Jennifer-Zeng, and you can find the show schedule in your city. Shen Yun has 7 equally large companies that are touring the world now. If you buy from this link, you can save the handling fee. How do you like the picture you are seeing now? When I first saw this dance in the Lincoln Center several years ago, I was moved into tears by the sheer beauty of it. Now, let's go to our topics today. In the past 2 weeks, new CCP virus cases broke out and hit a new record high in 28 provinces in China. 17 cities are now under lockdown. Most new cases are Omicron cases. Let's see the latest official data. So you can see from the map that apart from Xinjiang and Tibet in the west, as well as Ningxia province, all other provinces have new cases. Although the CCP are never to be trusted, the trend is very clear. Let me show you. See this one? As you can see, after keeping the number of new cases near 0 for many months, the CCP has reported tens of thousands of new cases in the past 2 weeks. Cases in Hong Kong also jumped to a new record high that has never been seen before. Let me share the screen from Hong Kong. So these are the numbers from Hong Kong. You can also see the jump, very, very sharp jump in the past several days. So among the places which was hit by the outbreak, Shenzhen, Shanghai, Changchun, and Beijing are suffering the worst. Let's watch a video from Shenzhen city first. Perhaps you may wonder why such kinds of things never appeared in other countries, although many other countries reported much higher infection numbers during the peak. Well, this is how CCP China is and how the CCP deals with everything. In CCP China, disease control, Winter Olympics, New Year celebration, etc., everything can become political events or movements. Sometimes they can even be military events or movements. That's why you see those people in white protective clothes move and act in unison like soldiers. Now let's watch a video from Shanghai. It was reported that while all those people were crowding together to do the test, someone was tested positive. As a result, all the people there immediately became the so-called close contacts and needed to be taken away for quarantine. The second part of the video was taken inside the number 6 hospital in Shanghai. It was said that the reason for the fight among medical staff is that there wasn't enough personal protective equipment in the hospital. So they fought over who should go to take care of the infected patients. The doctor wanted the nurse to go, but the nurse didn't agree. So that was how the fight started. Now another video from Shanghai. So you can see from this video that all the people sitting on the street. One by one.
哎呦，不行了，不行了啊！那这些都是黄皮路了，西部子，结棍，哎呦，出来赶上人家，我现在，等，结棍，那又成了，啊，拿手，那不得风扇，你有热吧，上去了吧？ Oh,
so it seems they have to guard it every
空气在颤抖，
to prevent anyone from
仿佛天空在燃烧。
是啊，暴风雨来了。
This is in Shanghai, somewhere in Shanghai. It seems someone had collapsed on the street. Yeah, so that is in Shanghai. The next video shows a man shouting out loud about how they were locked inside their company. So he's saying that you are locking us down in here and don't care about our lives. The outbreak has exploded. Every one of us are living together here, no matter whether are infected or not. Why don't you care about our lives? There are children and there are pregnant women here. Patients, don't you have also families? Why don't you lock your children with the infected procedure? Why don't you come here together with us? So you lock us down in our own company. The government doesn't look after us. So the police car is here. But what are you doing there? How can you help? So the Shanghai government is doing things like this. This is the so-called precision control of which you branded about. What is precise control? Your comrades. So he's talking about
变成吉林省民这样子吗？啊！让所有的孕妇、所有人、小孩全部和阳性病例隔离在一起。啊！我们现在怎么后面把所有上海市自己政府的责任推给一个企业，让我们已经在这里6天了。
And we are being locked down here for 6 days. When this is going to be ended? We just want to They have been knocking down in here for 6 days. So that is a situation in Shanghai. So this all, I think they are all employees of a certain company being all locked down. Children, pregnant women, and who are infected and who are not infected, all locked down. So they are very, very upset there. So these pictures are also from Shanghai, showing streets being blocked. And this picture showing students from Zhujuan Elementary School in Shanghai were all taken away for quarantine. And these pictures are from Jilin province in northeast China, showing that the situation there is very severe too. And this picture you can see is from Langfang City in Hebei province near Beijing. You can see the entrance to an entire unit in the building is nailed. This means nobody from the entire unit can come out. And this picture shows the home of someone also in Langfang City being totally sealed. Nobody is allowed to come out. And this happened in Jiangsu province. Truck drivers were sealed inside the trucks upon they arrive somewhere because there were outbreaks, so they are not allowed to come out. I don't know how they can get food or what they can do if they want to go to toilet. So it seems nobody cares. So these pictures are from the trade fairs in Guangzhou City on March 11th, while tens of thousands of people were attending the trade fairs. It was suddenly announced that the trade fairs was to be suspended and anybody inside the venue should not go out. People became so scared that they tried to escape by jumping the fences. Let's watch a short video of people trying to escape from there. Very, very scary. So this is how people trying to escape from there. Tens of thousands of people were suddenly knocked down in that closed space. What is the science there? So that's in Guangzhou, the trade fair.
你睇啲人，阿媽我得咗啦。 我驗完啦，等結果。
Okay, and this picture is from Hong Kong. Unfortunately, yesterday, that is March 14th, Hong Kong reported nearly 27,000 new cases and 286 new cases. So up to yesterday, the total death toll is 4,279. And we've just seen the sharp jump is the very, very terrible sharp jump of the death numbers in the past few days in Hong Kong. So this you can see that our bodies inside the hospitals in Hong Kong, and sometimes people have to stay in the same room with these bodies. So why is the situation in Hong Kong suddenly deteriorating? According to local medical staff, it has very much to do with Hong Kong authorities having tried to adopt the CCP's zero-case policy. Medical staff said a while ago, Hong Kong's chief executive Carrie Lam stressed the need to adhere to the goal of dynamic zero case and set the enhancement of testing capacity as the most urgent goal. The focus of the government was then put on how and when to test every single one of the 7.4 million people in Hong Kong, whether the city needed to be locked down, etc. If you dare to question the zero tolerance policy or whether it is effective to have everyone in the city tested, you can be branded as violating the national security law. So in order to zero out the cases, anyone who tested positive needed to be hospitalized or quarantined. Medical resources were thus misused. And the medical staff said that what they do is not to save lives, but to zero out the case numbers. One doctor asked, if 1 million people test positive in one day, do we have 1 million beds for everyone? The entire idea is totally wrong. Why is the zero case approach is totally wrong, especially with the Omicron variant? I think it is easy to understand this from the point of view that this variant is highly contagious, but relatively much less dangerous. Some doctors even said that this was a good opportunity given to us for us to achieve herd immunity. Why does the CCP have to insist on its zero tolerance policy? The number one reason is like what we've talked about before. This policy has already been established as a legacy of Xi Jinping, so it cannot be challenged or questioned. The number two reason is the huge amount of money involved. The core issue of the zero tolerance policy is to find out all the infected people and the close contacts, and then to isolate them, these people, take them away from society. To find out the infected ones, mass tests are a must. So we always see reports such as this many millions of people in this city are all tested in 3 days, etc. A while ago, the audio file of a Chinese scholar called Huang Wansheng was released. Huang Wansheng is currently a research fellow at Harvard Yangtze University. He's also a visiting professor at several universities in China, including Tsinghua University. 6 months after the outbreak of the CCP virus in China in July 2020, he was invited back to China by Chinese Vice Premier Liu He to participate in the pandemic prevention project. The CCP paid as much as 170,000 yuan or $27,000 to buy a one-way ticket to fly him back to China from the US in July 2020. So from this, you can see he is really somebody. So in February this year, a 52-minute audio file was leaked. It was said to be a private talk by this man, Huang Wansheng. In this private talk, Huang said that the driving force behind the CCP's zero-tolerance policy is money. A certain group that is controlled by high-ranking CCP families has made as much as 670 billion yuan, or over $105 billion from the testing alone. So no matter whether it is the people or the social welfare system that paid for the test, the money was earned by the group who made testing kits. Huang said that's why the CCP requires everyone to get tested, even only 1 or 2 cases are found in a big city. One that then exposed that the medical staff who do tests for people in Shenzhen city have a daily subsidy of 450 yuan or $70, while those who track the movements of the infected people can have a daily subsidy of 350 yuan or $35. For every million people in Shenzhen city, there are 1,300 people who are responsible to track the movements of the infected people and their close contacts. And there is 1 test spot for every 30,000 people. So please remember, more than 600 million Chinese people only earn less than 1,000 yuan per month. So a daily subsidy of 450 yuan equals an income of 13.5 thousand yuan per month, which is 13 times higher than the income of those 600 million Chinese people. So you see, this is a big business and a big industry, right? And the number 3 reason is the lack of trust between the public and the government. Let's watch another short video before we discuss this in detail.
别打水准那个去，这玩意儿，找对吧？找好，对吧？找好，找好，找好，啊！我们先做到，
他嘴巴不长吗？
来，你闭嘴，你闭嘴，来。
Without any explanation, we can say that in this video, the medical staff wanted to test that elderly lady, but the lady didn't want to get tested, so she kept on resisting. So this video gives us a very good illustration of what is the lack of trust between the government and the public. The government has no trust in the public. That's why the authorities need to seal people's doors to prevent them from going out or forcefully take them away to quarantine centers where conditions are even worse than prisoners. On the other hand, the public doesn't trust the government at all. As a result, they don't want to work or cooperate with the government. When they become sick, they may choose not to say anything, as they will be treated as criminals if they do. Even all their neighbors in the same building will be affected and taken away. So everyone who gets affected may turn around and blame them. So they might rather cover it up when they get sick. As a result, the virus spread. Huang said in the leaked audio that there are 3 fears in China's disease control and prevention. 1. Chinese people are afraid of death very much. 2. Chinese officials are afraid of losing their jobs. And 3. Chinese experts are afraid of taking responsibility. So these three fears together have made the mess in China today. Huang also said the high degree of concentration of power has resulted in a high concentration of medical care resources. Medical care resources are concentrated in large cities. When people get sick, they all run to the best hospitals. So China's medical care system can easily collapse. Why is Taiwan so successful in its pandemic control? The number one reason is that Taiwan never trusted the CCP's information. So when other countries were still believing in what the CCP said about the virus, Taiwan had already started screening travelers from China as early as the beginning of January 2020. So the virus never got spread in the communities in Taiwan. Also, there is a mutual trust between the government and the public. I remember last year there was a period when the case numbers were rising in Taiwan. The public just practiced self-quarantine. They quarantined themselves at home. They avoid going out unless absolutely necessary. The government never nailed down people's doors, and the case numbers soon came down. The most successful aspect of Taiwan's disease control is Taiwan never locked down itself. As a result, Taiwan has maintained a healthy GDP growth in the past 2 years. People didn't suffer as much as in other places financially. A while ago, when Omicron first appeared, we talked about a joke that Chinese people called I eliminate communism, or Omicron, I eliminate communism, as the pronunciations of Omicron and I eliminate communism in Chinese are very similar. It seems now that while Omicron may have really helped a lot of other countries achieve herd immunity, it can also become a killer variant in China if the CCP keeps on holding onto its anti-science and anti-reality zero tolerance policy. Let's see this chart. So this is a share price of Shanghai Stock Exchange. You can see how the index dropped terribly in the past few months, especially the past week. Remember when we talk about the debt issues of Chinese local government, we said that Shanghai is the only city that still reported a physical surplus among all the big cities and provinces. Well, now, with relatively developed areas such as Shanghai and Shenzhen hit hard by the new round of the CCP virus, how can the CCP achieve its GDP growth rate this year? Foxing has already announced that it had suspended its production and its China headquarters in Shenzhen due to the CCP virus outbreak, so no iPhones will be produced in Shenzhen from now on until things turn better. So obviously the financial impact will be huge. Well, it seems that this year will be a very tough one for the CCP. Xi Jinping wants to push Putin and Russia to the front to take some heat, but it seems that nobody is fooled. I think the world sees the true color of the CCP more clearly now after Russia invaded Ukraine. Do you agree? Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please help me spread my messages and consider signing up for a membership at my website, jenniferzengblog.com. Thank you. See you next time.